Hey everyone, today we're going to be working on writing simple shell scripts. This is part of the Red Hat System Administrator course. If you are not familiar with that course, basically Red Hat provides these certifications, which are hands-on performance-based. So instead of you answering questions, you actually type in commands to the terminal and you're able to, verify your skills, but by showing them how you can configure the systems properly. All right, so let's start. So right now I'm using an EC2 instance. So basically it's just a virtual machine on the cloud. All right, so the first thing we want to do when we're making shell scripts, we have to just always remember that the naming convention should always be there. So the script that I'm going to be making, the first one will be a user add script. So what it will do, it will add a user for me with a certain UID or a certain group, depending on how I want to do it. So the first thing you want to do is when you're making it, use your favorite text editor. You can use Nano, you can use VI, you can use Vim. So I use VI. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to name my script and I'm going to name it add user.sh. All right. And the first thing we want to think about when we're making these scripts is that we want to make sure that we have a shebang. So the shebang is the pound sign, and then the bang is the actual like exclamation point, right? So the shebang is bin bash. The reason why you need this, so technically you really don't, but it's good convention to have it. But the reason why you need this is because you're telling it what you're using, what you're scripting in, or what you're writing the program in. So it's in bash. So when you're actually executing it, it has to be ran through bash. So if you had Python, for example, you'll put Python. If you had Perl, you'll do Perl. All right. So one thing that is really good to learn is that when you're writing scripts, right, you have to remember that in Linux, we have positional parameters. And what positional parameters are, they're basically in order. So if I'm typing in the command, right, like for the one that I have now, add user, right, .sh, the first thing I type in here will be parameter 1. The second thing I type in here, let's say I type in the group, manager group, right? This will be the second parameter. So on my script, how I can reference that, I can actually call user equals $1. The $1 is equating to John, okay? If I put group equals $2, this $2 equates to the second parameter. So these are called positional parameters, which are very important to understand. Okay. The next thing I want to show you guys is in Linux, your variables, they cannot have any spaces in between them. If they have any spaces whatsoever, it's not going to work properly. So make sure you don't have any spaces at all. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do, there's a command called user add in Linux, right? So my script will basically take the user and the group that the person typed in and is going to reference it by the $sign in front of it. So if I want to reference the first one, so the first one is referencing the first parameter, this is referencing the second parameter. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do user add dash G, which I want to give it the group, right? And the way I reference this group over here is by putting a $sign in front of it, group. And then the last command or the last parameter or argument per se, you want to type in user at the end, right? So $sign user. And that's how you reference this one. All right. And this is the syntax of the command and how it works. All right. Now I'm going to exit. And if I type in LL, as you can see, this is just an ASCII regular, it's just a regular file. So if I type in file, add user, you see, born again shell script. And the reason why it knows this is because it saw the bin bash on the top, right? If I didn't have that, this wouldn't be popping up on here, okay? And ASCII is because it's written in ASCII, right? Next thing we want to do is add the execution bit. So what I'm doing, I'm using a +X because it's adding that execution bit. As you see, we don't have no execution bit. So I'm gonna do that. And if I do that all again, as you can see, the execution bit is there and the color changes, right? If I do file again, right, it's the same thing, right? So the next thing I want to do, I want to add a group first because that manager group does not exist. All right. Now, if I'm going to use the tail command to right now to show you the last two entries on etc password, and this will show me the last users on here. As you can see, we have a cloud user and we have a Apache user, right? So what I want to do now is use that script that I made. So user, add user. User. Actually, before I can actually run that, I need to make sure I put bash in front of it because I'm using bash to interpret it, right? So I'm going to put bash add user. And remember, the first one is the name of the person. So the first person or the first parameter will be John. The second one will be manager because that's how the script is set up. And once I do that, as you see, there's no output, right? And how you know it's successful is you can do echo $? And this will give you the last exit code. So if it's a 0, that means it's good. If it's a 1 or anything else, usually it's not a good thing. So in Linux, when everything works well, usually you don't get no output. As you can see, it's a 0, meaning that this script ran good or there was no issues with it, right? Now, if I do etc password, and by the way, you can use your directional pad to go up, so you can keep going up on the commands if you like. Now, if I do it again, as you see now, John exists. See, before John didn't exist. Now, John exists because I'm getting the last two lines of the etc password. And now, what I can do is get the groups of John. And as you can see, John is in the group of manager. So now, as we can see here, John is part of the manager group, which is pretty cool. So we can also do ID John, right? I can tell you here's the this is UID, this is group ID, and that's part of the group that he's in, right? Because I made this as basically primary group. All right. So the other thing when we're making scripts that we want to understand is using if and else statements. So we'll do that right now. So we'll make another one called if else.sh. Okay, remember we gotta do the shebang. Okay, so the first one is if, right? And remember we have the $. So I'll put answer equals $1. $1 is a positional parameter that's coming in. So I'm gonna do if $answer, because this is how you access that variable, is equal to. So in Linux, right, we have all these different ways of typing things. You can do greater than, you can do greater and equal to, you can do less than, you can do less than or equal to, you can do like Z is like if there's like zero bytes in it. So let me check that one so I can tell you guys. So Z stands for returns true if the string is empty. I mean, there's a lot of these. There's like, I'll give you guys the link in the video below, but there's a lot of ways you can do this in terms of like these little like shortcuts. Just makes it easier when you're writing scripts and more readable. So you can do if answer is equal to yes, or I can just do 1 to make it easier. All right, so make sure in here we have space between these. If they're together, it won't work. So if this is like this won't work. So in Linux, it's very, you have to be very careful of how you're typing things. Some languages, doesn't matter if the variable has spaces in between them because it's still assign it. But Linux is, a little bit different, especially with bash, right? And then when you do the if statement, they're going to type in then, and this will be your next block of code. And then I can put echo, you have entered $answer. Okay. And what this will do, this will interpolate the actual data. They'll get the data from $1 that I entered in the command. They'll go down, they stored an answer. And now when you type it in here, Linux will automatically, or Bash will automatically substitute this with the number that you put in here. So this will be number 1 or whatever one that I put in there. Okay. And then what I can do is else I can do echo you have entered $answer not accepted. Then on the top, what I can do is also do that, accepted. All right, don't mind the formatting. I don't really care. I'm just showing you guys the example and stuff. But yeah, like I said, if this is a real script, I'll make it a lot more organized. Put the punctuation correctly and all the other stuff. So the next thing you want to do is type in fee, which fee means that the script is done and everything is looking great. So now I'm going to escape. And now I'm going to do the change mod plus X on if else. Now I'm going to run it, bash if else, and then I'm going to put 1. As you can see, 1 is there, so it's accepted. If I put 2, you have entered 2, not accepted. You have entered 3, not accepted. If I go back to 1, it's accepted. All right, and then the next thing I want to share with you guys is the site. Cool, there it is. I'm going to share this with you guys. So if you look on here, this is a really great resource, computerhelp.com. There's like Geeks for Geeks, I think, but there's a lot of different sites. So on here, it actually shows you how some of these work. So this one right here is declaring a variable, and then it's using the if statement. So instead of using the brackets and everything, right? They're using these parentheses, and then these parentheses is evaluating this. So this test command is basically testing the 2 arguments. So the first argument, if it's greater than 5, 5 is equal to 4. As you know, 4 is not greater than 5. So it'll go to no, right? So the only way this will work, right? If this passes and this is true, then this will come. If it's false, then this will hit, pretty much. So there's just a single line, like F and L statement, pretty much. And if you go down to the test, it tells you what they stand for. Like if we go down further, if it's not here, then it should be. It's here. Literally, I don't know why they don't like give it to you right here, but right here we have equal to, not equal to, less than or equal to, greater than, equal to. So you have argument 1, and then you have argument 2, and you can use test to do it. So I can show you guys how we can do that. If you're interested, we'll go to this one again. So the way this one will work, you can just do test 4 is equal to 3, right? So we can use that instead. So what we can do is make this statement again. We'll just do this really quick. I think I could have used DD instead, but whatever. So test, and then the first one is $1 is greater than, I can do, I'll use answer, that's my fault. If it's greater than 10, then echo you are over 10. Else you are not over 10. All right, and then I can end it with a fee. And I'm going to run this. And then I can put in 1. So it says line 9, command not found. So I'm going to go back to here really quick. And then what we can do, this is a great opportunity to troubleshoot. So we can go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it's saying over here that this is not working correctly. So I just need to check the actual syntax, make sure that's correct. That's the first thing we want to do. Okay. So in this case, what I can do to troubleshoot it is delete these two lines and go back and try to run it again. As you see, nothing showed up because the else statement isn't running. If I do 12, you are over 12. So it is working. If I go over 12, if I don't, then it won't work. So the problem right now, as we can see, it's with this else statement. Else. Not over. Try again. Not over. Cool. So maybe the formatting was incorrect, but now it works. So as you can see, now that statement pretty much works. If I put 12, as you are over 12. If I am 3, the number is not over 10, right? Because that was the initial value. And to be honest, with these scripts, you can literally do anything you want. They're not really hard. You just have to learn like the basic commands in Linux. Like if you want to do like, you know, there's certain tasks that you're doing, you can literally use this and use those positional parameters to put them in your statements. So that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching and have a great day. If don't hesitate to leave a comment, ask any questions. I'm definitely available all the time to help you guys. Please subscribe. That definitely helps me create more content and to help as much people as I can. And thank you guys and have a great day.